Yes. Greetings. This is Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. How nice to see you. Anyway, uh, I was telling you previously about my experiences with the head of security at HM Prison Wormwood Scrubs, London West 12. Yeah, the man was a complete dipstick, but he was a principal officer in charge of security. So this particular day, in round about the end of 1975, I believe it was, round about it could have been November, December 1975, and I was sent on duty this particular day to do a series of cell searches. Yeah. Now, cell searches involve you as you go to the security unit. The head of the security unit gives you a list of cells that you've got to search. And what you do is two of you go and you get the inmate who's in the cell, or inmates who are in the particular cell that you've got listed, and you search the inmate completely, and you search the cell. So on this particular day, I reported for duty to the head of the security unit, and he gave me a list of, I think it was 3 or 4 cells to search on D Wing, which is the long-term prisoners wing at HMP Wormwood Scrubs. If you look at the front of Wormwood Scrubs, direct ahead, on the left, the far left, is A Wing, B Wing, C Wing, and D Wing is on the far right. Yeah? So off we went, me and my colleague, into D Wing, went to see the principal officer in charge of D Wing. Said, we've got 4 cells that we're going to search today. We've been sent by the security unit, and these are the inmates. Can you tell us their location, please? And believe it or not, the principal officer in charge of D Wing on that particular day said to me, John, just go and have a cup of coffee. There's a newspaper in there. You get a copy of the newspaper. Make yourself a piece of toast if you want. They've got some toast, and have a sit down for an hour or so. Bring your books back to me. I'll sign them. Yeah, and off you go. I said, I don't quite follow you. We're here to search the cells. No, we don't be doing that. Just go and have a coffee. He said, you've got to get them countersigned by me anyway. He said, to show that you've done them. He said, I'll sign them. He said, all you've got to do is go and have a coffee and have a sit down, read the newspaper, have a cigarette, whatever you want, and I'll sign them and off you go. I said, we're going to search the cells. He said, if you cause any trouble on my wing, he said, I'll have you out of here. I said, I'm going to search the cells. So I said to my colleague, let's go. So we went and found out where the inmates were. One of the inmates was in a Spanish lesson, I believe, foreign language lesson. So the first one, and I went up there to the classroom, and I said to call his name out. I think it was, I forget what it was, but it was an Irish name anyway. I'm certainly not going to recount that here. I value my life. Anyway, I went to the classroom and called out his name, and he said, what do you want? He's shouting at me. What do you want? I said, we're going to search your cell. Oh, I'm in the middle of my Spanish lesson. We're not going to do that. I said, we're going to search your cell. Now, pick yourself up. Come over here, and we're going to search your cell. And the tutor, who was a lady who was teaching them Spanish, or supposedly teaching them Spanish, I said, he'll be back in approximately 30 to 45 minutes. In the meantime, he's coming with us. We're going to search his cell. And he starts shouting, you're not taking me. I'm not going to search the cell. So, I'm a reasonable guy, but at that point, I've heard about enough. I've got the principal officer in charge of D Wing telling me I'm not going to do it. I've got the inmate telling me I'm not going to do it. I have got an order to search this man and search his cell. So, What do you do? I mean, what would you do? Well, let me tell you what I did. I walked in there, got hold of the guy by the scruff of the neck, said, "Come with me." And I frog marched him out of the Spanish lesson, much to the dismay of the lady who was teaching Spanish. "You brute, you do this," said, "I'm going to search his cell." Yeah. Said, "And when he's finished, he's coming back." And I frog marched him with his arm off his back out of the Spanish tutorial room, down into D wing, because it was the end of D wing where the classroom were, onto I think it was on D4, onto D4, arm up the back, straight to his cell, opened the cell door, stuck him against the wall, said, "Right, we're going to search your cell now, but we're going to start with you." And he starts screaming and kicking off, and the next thing, this is the God's honest truth, the next thing, the principal officer in charge of D-Wing and two of his staff, who happened to be pretty large blokes, they came charging up, right up to me and said, "Get off him, get off that inmate." I said, "I'm searching his cell." "No, you're not, get off the wing, get off the wing." Next thing I know, the security officer who was in charge of security for the entire prison turns up. "Mr. Sutton, stop immediately. You're not to do this. You must leave the wing immediately. Report back to my office." So I went back to his office. With my colleague who was with me. It was a fairly innocuous bloke who was quite terrified by all this, Didn't expect that there was going to be a load of aggro, which it wasn't my idea. Anyway, we get back to the principal officer's office on the security unit in the HQ, the HQ block, He says, "You're causing trouble, Mr. Sutton." I said, "See this? This is your orders here. Search these cells." Yeah, I went to search these cells. Principal officer tells me, in charge of dealing, "Don't search the cells." I tell him, "I'm going to search the cells. This is your orders, yeah? You're the head of security." I go and see the inmates, say, "Right, come with me, I want to search yourself." He tells me he's not going to have his cell searched. So I physically persuade him, gently, to come with me, and we'll go and search his cell. And what do you think happened? The principal officer in charge of D-Wing gets two of his big giants to come intimidate me, start shouting threats at me, and then, out the blue, you turn up and tell me to stop, when you've given me the orders to go and search the cell. I said, "I'll tell you what I am going to do now. I am going to go and see the governor and tell him exactly what you've done." "You will do what you're told." I said, "I might do what I'm told after I've seen the governor." So I went to see the number one governor. Didn't go to the chief officer because, in my opinion, he was a complete knobhead as well. I went to see the governor, knocked on his door, bum bum. "Yes?" Norman Honey, by the way. I said I wouldn't mention his name, but miserable, whinging little bastard. "Yes?" So I went in and I said, "I just want to make a report to you. I'll put it in writing if you like, but first of all, let me tell you exactly what happened." I told him what had happened. They said, "Oh, Mr. Sutton," he said, "you must follow the instructions of the head of security." He's the man in charge of security, and if he says that's that. I said, "Are you quite certain?" "Yes, absolutely. Pfft, that's it, Touch of the old Captain Mainwaring, if you've ever seen Dad's Army, you know what I mean? A dithering tit. Yeah. So that was it. I went back to see the head of security. I said, "I have reported what I did to the number one governor, and he says you're in charge, so here I am. What do you want me to do now?" "Mr. Sutton, go and get yourself a coffee somewhere. Come back this afternoon." "Really?" "That's my duty, is it? Hey, coffee? Yes, I'll go and do that." What a complete arsehole. Anyway, that's what happened. And within 10 days, I was sat at home, this is God's honest truth, with my wife, watching television. It would be, I think it was late December of 1975, and onto the television came Riot's Wormwood Scrubs. Riot's at Wormwood Scrubs. I work there, you know. I mean, I'm just sat at home. This is about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Apparently, a group of inmates had broken onto the roof, and they were parading around on the roof dressed up in IRA uniforms. One of the inmates was the man who had screamed, kicked up, and they'd prevented me from searching his cell. No wonder he didn't want his cell searching. Inside his cell he had a mock military uniform and an Irish tricolour, and they were marching around on the roof, up the IRA. I said to my wife, I said, no wonder that bastard didn't want his cell searched. He got all this equipment in there. What makes me wonder is, did the officer in charge of D-Wing know this? Did the security officer in charge of the entire prison of Wormwood Scrubs know this? Did they know that this was going to happen? Or were they just too piss scared of dealing with the IRA? I mean, they are out of a legitimate cause. I'm not anti-IRA. Part of me is Irish. But when it comes to ruining prisons and breaking through the roof and threatening the lives of prison officers, it's my duty to prevent that. But not their duty, apparently. What a bunch of arseholes. And that is another tale from the jail. And I know that it's true. You see, I was that jailer.